Today we're diving into all the new Adobe goodness. Welcome to FilmRiot, the show that takes mystery out of the effects and techniques, going to some of your favorite Hollywood films. I'm your host, Ryan Conley. And before we jump into all the new Adobe goodies, if you saw our last episode and are itching to try some of the gear that we showed, or you're just looking for some gear for your next production, I asked our friends at LensPro to go if they would hook you all up with another coupon code, and they did. So go to their site right here and use the coupon code GHOSTHOUSE to get 15% off any rental, $200 or more, till November 30th. And secondly, before we jump into the Adobe magic, no, this episode is not sponsored by Adobe. I have received exactly $0 money from them. Okay, ready to go. Jumping right in, we're gonna start with what's new in Premiere Pro 2017, starting with audio, which I'm very excited about this. The audio plugins in Premiere have been a big complaint for me for a while. Like I've said a lot here, as much as I can stay inside of Premiere and not have to open other software, the better. When I'm working on a short film, it's going to happen. I'm gonna have to leave the software, but for more quicker turnaround stuff, I'd rather be able to finish all in Premiere when possible. So now we have these updated and much improved plugins, which are coming from Audition, like the Adaptive Noise Reduction, which is identical to the Audition version and is really effective. Dynamic processing, which I use all the time in Audition. Studio reverb, and my favorite, the parametric equalizer. To be honest, I wasn't a fan of the EQs that were inside of the older versions of Premiere, and that was one of the biggest reasons I would have to go to Audition. But now we have brought this EQ that I love from Audition into Premiere, so I'm finally able to EQ properly without having to leave the software, which is just one example of Adobe taking it to the max. Continuing on with additions that let me finish projects right inside of Premiere, Lumetri has been improved as well. So if we switch over to color, we have two main things. First is the ability to work with HDR10 workflows, which isn't something that I'm doing yet, but nice to know that it's there if I need it. And then we have the HSL secondary. So now I can be more specific and dive even further into my color space. To give you a very obvious and over-the-top example, if I take this shot here from Ghost House, then grab my color picker and select the green of this bush, I can then start refining and adjusting just the selection of that color. So down here you can see what my color picker selected. Then if I click here and then select white black, I can see a matte of what's being selected. Then I can manually adjust the hue, saturation, and luminance areas to dial that in further, and then refine even more by adding some blurs to smooth out my final result. But now that I have that selection, I'll go here and start correcting. So if I think that the greens aren't green enough, I can pump in more or get crazy and shift to any color that I'd like. Sort of reminds me of that infrared cinematography episode we did, but in a much simpler way. Again, this is an over-the-top example. Usually it would be something more simple, like correcting a blue sky or skin tones and so on. Much more subtle tweaks to dial in your image. Then they have the much improved live text templates, create a simple text animation in After Effects, and then you can save it out as their new .ae cap file type and bring that into Premiere. Inside of Premiere, I can adjust the text by clicking here, changing the text to what I'd like, and all this inside of Premiere without having to open After Effects. Again, super helpful for finishing in one place, in one piece of software, and being able to move quickly, and it's just another example of Adobe taking it to the max. Then there are other great new things like team projects, which allow you to work on the same project with multiple people. This one is huge for me. The only bummer is that so far it seems that you need a Teams or Enterprise account to use it. Hopefully they open that up for all accounts. This would be the perfect way to collaborate with people remotely. There is still a lot more to talk about, including some After Effects goodness, but first, let's pay some bills. If you're a budding filmmaker, entrepreneur, innovator, or a not talented host named Ryan Conley, Domain.com is the place to go when the next idea hits you. I know that you've heard me say that the available domain extension list is growing, but you now have the opportunity to name your site and build your brands in ways that was never before possible. You choose from a growing list of 400 plus domain name extensions like .com, .org, .design, .net, .club, or for instance,
.weenies.
Oh my God.
It's a hot dog business.
To show you some love, they're giving you 25% off their already affordable prices when you get domain names, web hosting, email. Just use your coupon code FilmRiot at checkout to get
Weenies.
25% off your order. And when you think domain names, think domain.com and
Weenies. It's my new hot dog business. We're booming.
Logo. Moving on, Adobe just announced their new social publishing panel, which is currently in beta and completely awesome already. I was able to get a sneak peek at it a while back, and I'm super excited about where they're going with it. So this is the panel right inside of Premiere where you can connect your social channels that you publish to. Then use their presets for best export settings for each of those channels like YouTube, Facebook, or Vimeo. Then add in the info you would on any of those channels like descriptions and tags. And for tags, you can say presets so you can just add the ones that you're entering all the time anyway. And God, yes to that. Then you could schedule the release of your content if you don't want to publish it yet. And then finally, once you have it published, this panel will give you all sorts of data about how your content is performing on each of those sites. And you can group all of those into one campaign. So if you're putting different versions on different platforms, say a 10-minute version on YouTube and a 5-minute version on Facebook, you can turn that all into one campaign to see an overview of how it all performed. And like I said, this is beta, so I'm crazy excited to see how it develops over time. And if you're interested in trying this one out, check out the link in the notes below to try to jump on that beta version. Moving on to After Effects, there are two things that made my soul sing the song of 1,000 peacocks. First is real-time playback with audio. If that isn't magical, I don't know what is. And even when I throw on an effect like Magic Bullet's film plugin, it's still playing back real time for me. Of course, the more I throw on, the less real time I'm gonna get out of it, but this has been a big point of frustration for me with After Effects, so seeing this fix turns my Spirit Man golden and sends him flying away on an animatronic griffin. Then we have the new 3D render engine. We can change our 3D renderer to Cinema 4D, then we can add some flat 2D object and then extrude it to change it into a simple 3D object. Add a light, move the camera around, and it becomes a very simple way to completely change how you do quick and simple animations. And it's surprisingly fast, which, as you probably already guessed, is just another example of Adobe taking it to the max.
Hey buddy, old pal, you don't happen to know where my backpack is, do ya? Why?
You should go get it.
What's Justin doing?
Going to get his backpack?
Why is his backpack out there?
Just wait.
To the max.
Logo. But that's it for today. There's a bunch more that they released, so if you want to learn more about it, including the new character animator, go here to see all the announcements. Again, don't forget about our coming Black Friday sale, up to 80% off all of our stuffs, which is borderline giving it away, but I love you guys, so why the hell not? Go here to learn more about that, and I'll see you guys next week when I cut a bullet out of my stomach to realize I'm not crazy.